Hello everybody, my name is Kara. Today I am here with a Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey from Gingerines Lainey and is currently being run by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, and I will link both of them down below. Today's topic is nostalgic book boyfriends or girlfriends, so characters that you swooned over when you were younger. Number 5 on my list is Harry Potter from the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the first book crush that I ever had, and I was so young that I don't really remember much about it, except I loved the fact that Harry had magical powers, and I think we were around the same age when I was reading the first couple of books. I just remember that I was sitting in class one day and I was like, Harry Potter is much nicer than all the boys in my class, so I think I like him better than all the boys in my class. And that was pretty much the end of it. Number 4 on my list is Tobin Lightfoot from The Shumash Circle by Daniel Phelan. Rose is our main character, and eventually she becomes friends with Tobin, and he's sort of this mysterious, slightly older but not too old guy, and he had this really dry, sort of sarcastic sense of humor, and for the first few times you see him, you think that he's kind of aloof or standoffish. You maybe wonder if he is too good for other people, and you actually find out that he's just really shy and kind of awkward. And I just really liked the fact that he was like smart and confident and funny and all of these other impressive things. But he has another side to him that's really shy and just wants to make friends with people. Number 3 on my list is Ethan Potter from The View from Saturday by E.L. Konigsberg. And he's another one of those characters who's really intelligent, but he's kind of quiet, so you don't see it right away. And when you initially meet him from another character's perspective, you sort of think that he's stuck up, or he thinks he's too good for people, or that he really just doesn't like the other characters. But once you start getting chapters from his perspective, you sort of realize that he just doesn't know how to talk to people. You know, he's been overshadowed by his older brother his entire life, so he's sort of gotten used to just being in the background, and people underestimate him because of that. But when you, the reader, finally get to see like his chapters and sort of him finally opening up and interacting with people, you realize that there's so much more to him than that. Like, he's so smart and he's so funny, and he can be really kind too. And I also remember absolutely loving the fact that he was really into theater, and this was even before I knew that I really loved theater. I just remember feeling like that level of passion and commitment to something, especially something that is not always respected as an art form or a career, particularly for boys. I just remember finding that really attractive, but also just really interesting, and I love Ethan so much. Okay, getting down to the nitty-gritty here. My number 2 spot on my list goes to Edmund Pevensey from The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Now, this is the first book he appears in, but this is not the book that made me start liking him. It wasn't until the later books where we see him sort of older and more mature and really learning from the mistakes he made that I really started loving him. And especially because he learns from some of the terrible things he did earlier in the series, and he actually responds to that by becoming a better person, but also a more forgiving person when he sees those traits in others. And I just remember thinking that that was such a mature way to respond to that. In the later books, he has this sort of like tough outer shell, but underneath it, he's really a good person who's doing the best he can with what he's got. And I really love that we got to see him realize that about himself. And Edmund Pevensey is still such an important character to me, and just such a phenomenal example of good character development. And the number 1 spot on my list goes to Artemis Fowl from the Artemis Fowl series by Owen Colfer. This is another one where it wasn't until the later books that I really started loving and getting attached to this character. Because Artemis starts out as a jackass. Like, he's basically the villain of the first book. And it isn't until later books where we sort of start to get a more complete idea of his character. You know, we start to see him in other situations. We see him make different decisions. And like Edmund, we also see him realize that some of his past actions were bad. So it wasn't really until the 3rd or 4th book where I really started getting attached to him and kind of falling in love with him as a character. And those were also the books where we were around the same age. And one of the first things that attracted me to Artemis was just the fact that he was so brilliant. Like, he was just such an intelligent person, and that was really attractive. Like, he was so good at what he did, and he was always, you know, 4 steps ahead of everybody else in the book, and it drove them crazy, but as the reader it was so interesting to read from that perspective. And I also love the fact that underneath the teenage criminal mastermind was just like this colossal dork. It was so endearing to see him go from a situation where he's the planner and he's in complete control and he's like running this heist, and then to see him in a situation where he's like arguing with his mother because he doesn't want to wear jeans. And it was just so wonderful to see those different sides of him as the books went on. And besides Harry Potter, Artemis was, I think, my very first book crush. And looking back, I think that had a pretty big effect on what characters I like now, because he was sarcastic, he was incredibly intelligent, he was a criminal mastermind, so I was clearly setting myself up to be attracted to anti-heroes. He also had that softer side that spoke to hidden depths and the fact that he wasn't just a cartoon villain or anything. Okay everybody, so that is it. Those are my top 5 nostalgic book boyfriends. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You should definitely comment down below and let me know some of your nostalgic book crushes, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. I would be really curious to know. And I think it's so interesting to see how the first characters that we were like attracted to in whatever way has sort of shaped our character preferences now. I just think that's fascinating. So that's all I have for this video. I will see you guys soon with another one, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!